Mrs. Ennis. Nobody ever really means.
Yeah. Jesus. You watch all that?
Yes, I did, Marty. I did indeed watch all of that. I didn't have to, but for some reason I did. 6 long, agonising hours, which I could have literally been doing anything else, and it would have been a better use of my time. Anyway, oh dear, just when you thought True Detective 4 couldn't get any worse, Issa Lopez, the writer of Night Country, says hold my 16 beers. This season's finale has to be one of the worst things I've seen on TV. In my episode 5 review of Night Country, I made some predictions as to how the finale would play out. It was the most predictable and boring resolution I could come up with. Tragically, I was mainly correct. Even more tragically, Issa Lopez somehow managed to come up with something even worse. Okay, so we might as well get into it. Episode 6 starts off with Danvers and Navarro hacking their way into the ice caves where Annie Kay did her feeble Blair Witch impression. Before we know it, our two protagonists have fallen through what must have been a wormhole, because they've barely moved 50 metres before they're climbing a ladder which leads them right back into the research station. I liked this hidden entrance as a concept, but the execution was just absurd. Weren't these caves meant to be in the middle of nowhere? How far did Navarro and Danvers walk through these narrow, winding and claustrophobic cave tunnels exactly? When Otis Heiss pointed out the entrance in episode 5, why did he bother using a map? Why didn't he just say, well, just head to the research station and hook a left? It makes absolutely zero sense. Predictably, Danvers and Navarro find Clark, and after some standard NSPD interrogation techniques, he tells them exactly how Annie Kay got murdered. It's a good thing that Clark actually was guilty of something, as they had zero evidence against him before they decided to Guantanamo Bay him, but these two have done sod all detection up until now, so why bother starting now? So Annie Kay found out that the mine was polluting the town's water supply, and went to the research station to get evidence.
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
Rather than do something sensible, like take the evidence or put it on the internet or leak it to the media, Annie Kay decides it'll be better to smash up a load of stuff, which unfortunately alerts Lunt, who then decides to stab her. Lunt's involvement in Annie Kay's death was obvious, given the nature of his own demise, or lack of it. The writer clearly wanted him to suffer, so she decided to keep him alive when there was absolutely no way he could have survived at least 3 days naked in the snow.
You got what you deserved. He's alive! He's alive!
It was also obvious that all the scientists were involved in the death and pollution cover-up, as their deaths were not at all important to the story. Danvers and Navarro were only interested in investigating the cold case of Annie Kay's death. The writer had no interest in justice for the characters from the research station, so neither did the detectives, which basically made Danvers and Navarro look incompetent. I did find it amusing how all 5 of the remaining scientists swarmed in to finish off Annie Kay. It's very convenient that no one was taking a dump or having a ciggy outside. They all appeared at the same time like that. They must have taken the elevator rather than the very treacherous, very tall, and very narrow single-file ladder we saw the other characters using. However, it did mean that Issa Lopez got to do another round of blockbuster bingo. As with every other episode of this series, we got a load of movie knockoffs. In this week's instalment, we were treated to a knockoff of Wind River. Then we got a little bit of Gladiator. And then we got a bit of The Shining thrown in as well. One prediction I did get wrong was that Pryor Jr. survived. I had him marked for death all the way back from episode 1. When he was sent to Rose to dispose of his dad's body, I assumed he would get clobbered after noticing something that confirmed Rose's involvement in the deaths of the scientists. As it turned out, she wasn't involved in the murders at all. Pryor really was just sent to Rose's so he could dispose of the body. I don't really understand what the point of this was, and why we even had this story arc. It was pretty much inconsequential and had no bearing on the story at all. It could have been written out of the final episode and no one would have noticed. It was all a bit random, but good to know that Rose has got a nice little sideline in disposing of corpses. I'm only surprised she doesn't have a sign outside her place saying, "Bring out your dead." Maybe she should buy herself a pig farm.
Are they Lancashire pigs?
Who the fuck's talking to you, boy?
The whole vengeful tribe of women was as cheesy as it was predictable. The scene where Danvers and Navarro confront them was so cringe. I did love the little montage scene where they work everything out by hacking into computers, reading notes and climbing down into abandoned, scary-looking caves. Maybe they're the true detectives of this show. It's certainly a toss-up between them or Travis the dancing ghost. Both sets of characters do a fuck sight more investigation than either of the main characters, that's for sure. They really saved the worst till last with the whole Navarro disappearing off into the sunset thing. "I don't think you'll find Evangeline Navarro on the ice. Do you think the sightings are true?" I mean, who gives a toss? Why are they bigging her up as though she's some sort of mythical figure who will be whispered about in darkened rooms? In the whole series, she's done the square root of fuck all. Is she now going to be the Kaiser Soze of Ennis? "Hey kid, rat on your pop, and Navarro will come and steal your SpongeBob toothbrush." Hopefully they weren't planning on giving Navarro some kind of spin-off, because if they do, it will sink faster than the Titanic. They may as well give me the money and film a documentary of me sitting on the toilet. The dialogue will certainly be better than anything we've had in this series.
I'm bleeding!
This is Ennis. Nobody ever really leaves. What the hell does this mean? Does the writer even know? Or is it just one of those random pieces of dialogue put in because she thinks it sounds cool? It's like, "We're all in the night country." Shite country, more like it. And what exactly is a spirit version of Navarro hanging out on Danvers' porch anyway? They didn't exactly like each other. So where does this shower of defecation leave True Detective going forward? This surely must be the end now. Nothing can survive this. I don't think they should have called it True Detective. They should have called it something more appropriate, like a load of old dog shit.